A complete drying line mainly includes a pit unit, a pit elevator, a sieve, a wet barn, a chafe hot air furnace providing heat, a dryer, a dry barn, grain loading, and unloading scrapers and a gravity dust chamber. The complete automatic drying lines of have people-oriented and user-friendly design and produce high-quality dried grain selling at high prices. When grain trucks pour grain into pits, dust exhaust devices suck up light impurities and grain dust. However, grain fall into pit elevators due to pit slopes and gravity. The pit elevators transport grain to sieves. After grain enters the sieves, discharge valves control the flow rate of grain. Due to drought fans, grain dust is sucked out. Blighted grains and impurities are transported out by screw conveyors. Grain falls on the sieves below and is screened repeatedly by double-layer screen meshes to separate grain from impurities. Impurities are transported out through impurity-gathering pipes. After the cleaning, the content of impurities in grain is not greater than 1%. Elevators transport cleaned grain to wet barns. The wet barns are equipped with draft fans at their bottoms to keep air circulating in barns so as to reduce losses caused by mold or germination due to stacking of grain. Grain is transported to grain scrapers through grain elevators. The super wear-resistant scrapers not only feature a large transport capacity but also don't damage grain. The tightness of the scrapers is excellent and grain can be discharged at will. Every grain outlet is equipped with an automatic valve. After the valve opens, grain enters the first dryer. After the first dryer is full, the alarm goes off and the valve closes. At the same time, the second dryer opens and then grain enters the second dryer until all of the dryers are full with grain. Environmental-friendly hot air furnace features unique structural design and full automatic online operation. The prepared chaff is poured into a receiving hopper and then blown into a chaff chamber by a high-pressure fan. After the chaff enters the furnace chamber, press the manual ignition device. The chaff whirls around and floats in the furnace chamber to burn thoroughly to produce maximum quantity of heat. Ash produced by combustion is transported to the ash bucket by the automatic ash removal and control system. The hot air produced by combustion in the furnace chamber enters the heat exchanger through air channels and then enters the cyclone dust collector to separate smoke and dust from the hot air. Finally, the white smoke is discharged through smoke pipes. At the same time, the outdoor air enters the heat exchanger and passes through outer walls of heating pipes of the heat changer to form clean and odorless hot air. Due to the suction of the dryer blower, the hot air is transported to every dryer through hot air pipelines. the temperature of hot air is measured automatically. When the temperature is lower than the set temperature, the thermostat will automatically close the shutter to control the inflow of cold air. Otherwise, the shutter opens to increase the inflow of cold air to reduce the temperature of hot air so as to guarantee the drying temperature and drying quality of grain. The unique vertical 8-groove design and large drying layer with wear-resistant open stainless steel screen holder dryers improve their speed and utilization efficiency. After hot air enters the drying layer, it penetrates the grain layer due to the exhaust fan. Grain automatically slips off to the bottom screw conveyor, and the slipping rate is controlled by the rotary valve. The outlet of the screw conveyor is equipped with a moisture meter. When the water content of grain measured by the moisture meter reaches the set water content, the air-operated 3-way valve of the elevator is controlled to transport grain to the grain scraper. Then the grain scraper transports grain to the dry barn to realize automatic drying of grain. Grain dust flows in an S route in the dust chamber. The dust content of the finely discharged gas is extremely low, so it won't pollute the ambient air.